Nate, and this is episode 2 of This Week in Lightning. What's going on?
Hey, Nate. It's Lisa, aka Nifty. Not a lot, not a lot. Doing some traveling this week, but
Fun.
what's going on in Lightning, man? What are we gonna talk about?
I don't know. We just got off the back of a pretty fun Bit Devs in Austin,
That's right.
and you had a lot to say about Base 58 and all this other stuff going on. We talked about,
Yeah.
um, what is it? Hang on 2 seconds. It's, check template verify, that stuff. We talked about that
Okay.
again
Yeah.
because that's super fun. It's getting kind of controversial now. So I don't know. There's always something going on in Lightning. But I'm just happy to be back and talking. What's on your mind this week?
Uh, let's see. Well, I was in Austin last week, which was super fun. I don't know, man. I like mostly what I've been thinking about is like how important lightning success is for Bitcoin. But that's like a big topic. We don't have to like get into that. The other thing that I thought was
It's true.
interesting is like started talking to the guys who run Club Lab or some of the guys that are hacking on projects, and like one of the projects there is this super testnet has something called HODL contracts.
Oh,
Yeah, have you heard
that
of this
the escrow
concept?
stuff.
Yeah, it's a non-custodial Oracle and escrow system. Um, but I thought it was interesting because, like, I don't know why I think it's kind of funny. Like, every few months, not every few months, but like, and maybe this is different. I need to like go through and read about exactly how it works, um, with the escrow and like where their oracle's coming from. But it's like basically, I feel like every once in a while, someone will like not rediscover but re-implement this like huddle invoice idea, which Yost Jaeger kind of introduced or started talking a lot about back in like June of 2019. Um,
Yeah, I just brought it up. Exactly, June of 2019.
yeah. And so it's funny because, like, I mean, so for people that are like, new to Lightning or like, I mean, I don't think anyone's really built a service on top of it. It's been talked about for a couple of years. It looks
Mm-hmm.
like this super testnet guy is working on finally adding stuff to it, which is cool. Or finally making a thing. I don't know. I think it's cool, but I'm also like, when these came out, like, I know like Christian Decker on our team was like, well, you don't know. It's not really amazing for the Lightning Network for people to hold invoices for a long time. Maybe
Hmm.
we should talk through what a HODL invoice is. Like, do you know what a HODL invoice is?
No, not really. But it looks like there's a big Q&A from what Yo's posted. So
on,
maybe I should have went through this, but
on Yoast thing. Yeah. I mean, I just sent it to you like 10 minutes ago, so it's
yeah.
fine. Um,
Tell me.
but yeah, but the difference is like there's like it kind of says in the comments and stuff, like basically when you send a lightning payment, there's a period, there's like it's two pass thing. Pass one, you send it kind of out. So like if I have an invoice and I want to pay you, Nate, and there's like a couple hops along the way to paying you, I like you'll give me an invoice, right? So you'll like give me an invoice somehow. And then I'll take the invoice, put it on my lightning node, say, okay, pay this invoice. My node will like find a route to your node. And then I'll create an onion message and I'll send the onion message along the route, right? And inside that onion message, there's a hash, the hash of the pre-image, right, is in that contract. So the only person that can like pull that money through is who the person who knows the pre-image, which is you, because you created the invoice and whatever. So this like basically we like lock up. Let's say I'm like buying like a million sats of something from you, right? So I'm
Okay.
trying to send you a million sats. Um, I will like create this payment and send a million sat payment. And so every channel that has touched this onion message now has a million sats basically held in a separate little account for this payment. And once the payment clears, or once you've settled the payment on your end, then the payment will actually like um, resolve to the other side, so to speak. But once this like onion message gets to you, if you take so like in the like normal case scenario, it's just an automatic normal payment. you'll get the message, you'll get the like onion, and you'll get the commitment of 1,000,000 sats to you, right? And you'll immediately give the person who offered you 1,000,000 sats the pre-image, right? So that you can move that into your balance.
Mm-hmm.
Then they turn around and give the pre-image to the person behind them, and then they turn around and give it to the person behind them, right? And then so this money basically then is moved out of the like little separate account back into the side of the channel of the person who just like forwarded the payment, right?
So is it a way to prove to somebody that you have funds for something without like using it yet?
Here's the thing, like if you like waited a week before you revealed the pre-image, all of that money along the route from my node to your node is still held in the separate account. Like it's just held there until the pre-image gets released, or until there's a timeout. There's a timeout thing that happens. So
That's good.
If the timeout happens, though, guess what? Guess what? So like, let's say there's someone between me and you, and they have like another channel, and the timeout happens. They have to drop that channel to chain, so it's really expensive.
Oh, okay.
So if like I route a payment to you and you don't fulfill it forever, then all those channels along the route are gonna end up like closing.
Is that one of the biggest sort of things that people or biggest issues that they know about? Or
there's two problems here. One is that like let's say that we've set like the timeout to like 2 weeks, so it can stay like so that you can like wait a week basically, and you still have like a week of buffer time before you accept the payment. Okay, so for whatever reason, like falling the chain isn't a big deal because we put like such a big CLTV lock basically on them that it'll take like 2 weeks before it falls to chain. So we're like, let's assume we're okay there. What's like, I mean, I think that depends on who you ask, but like then it's like, okay, but everyone's liquidity along that channel, they can't reuse it for any other payments. You've basically locked, right?
Okay.
Like the two of us have basically locked up this liquidity in like other people's channels waiting to be resolved, right? So while you now have this amazing ability to either like accept the payment or reject it, right? And you know the funds are there and available and they're like held for you. It's just waiting.
So I'm skimming through the Radar Tech Ion Wiki for this.
Oh yeah.
And I have it up on the screen. So because I'm like, all right, where are the use cases? And the most obvious one is listed first, which is chargebacks, returns, that sort of thing. Which is kind of cool, but in some ways aren't cool.
Taking your inventory is like might be able to take you like if you have it programmatically done, it'll take you like an extra second. That's probably not a bad like fail safe to have in place, right? It's a sort of thing where it's
like 5 minutes or something. Just kind of be like hold it and then.
Yeah, I mean, depending on
what kind of
demand the liquidity is of the person of the route that you're along, like yeah, sure.
Then the other one is a fidelity bond.
Yeah, so that's basically like if you and I had some sort of contract, or like, I don't know, if we had like some sort of contract and I was going to perform some services, but you like kind of didn't trust me, I would like give you a fidelity bond. So if I like broke the contract or whatever, you could just take the money as like, it's like an insurance kind of thing. A way to like make sure I perform so that you don't take my money. My whole thing with that is like, if the user's malicious, the service settles the invoice. I mean, what's to keep the service from just taking my money anyway, right? Like,
right. Yeah, I'm thinking like a sort of an eBay situation or something where you buy something, but they just send you like an empty box with a picture of it. You know, how that was like. But
this doesn't give the sender of the payment any control. It gives the person who's accepting the payment control of when it settled, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is interesting stuff. Atomic item delivery payment.
Yeah.
Consider an item delivery shop. A customer could generate a hash of a pre-image and send it to the shop. The shop generates an invoice where the payment hash is equal to the hash and the customer pays it, but the shop cannot settle it without the pre-image. That's what I think that's what you were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah.
Upon item delivery, the customer reveals the pre-image and the shop courier then settles the invoice. I mean, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
this is kind of complicated. There's like two different invoices, right? The
Right.
shop has to pay the courier, so the shop pays the courier for delivering it. Um, and the courier won't like take the funds until the item has been delivered, is the idea. And then once the courier takes the money from the shop, the act of them taking the money from the shop makes the shop able to take the money from you. So the shop isn't able to claim your money until the courier has successfully delivered it, which is pretty
Mm-hmm.
cool. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely going to need stuff like this as Lightning becomes more robust, for sure.
Why do you think we're gonna need stuff like this though?
Well, I
Like,
mean, well, if you believe the narrative that like the Lightning Network is going to be the like obviously Bitcoin's like the base of the base, but Lightning could be like a
yeah,
base layer in itself in a lot of ways.
yeah.
So that would need to be very robust as far as financial
Yeah,
features.
but like these HODL things create a cost on the network, and that like then like
Yes.
you need more capital to be locked up. Like so, if I'm making a million sat payment and to you, and you're like HODLing it for a week, right? And I
Yeah.
send it through 10 channels. That means 10 million sats have basically been withheld in the whole network while you're waiting a week to
So,
like settle it.
so I guess the question then becomes how much of this stuff can we just centralize to relieve pressure and just kind of be okay with it, maybe?
I mean, the really well, like it's a little different if I'm like routing an onion through a couple other hops versus if I had a direct channel with you.
Right.
Like if I have a direct channel with you, who cares how long
Right.
we hold it in escrow? Like who cares? Literally, like that's just between the two of us. But as soon as you get like a third party's channels involved, it's like, well, what are you compensating them for having them like hold this in escrow for you?
I would imagine that the forwarding node would be able to configure their channels to avoid this sort of thing if they wanted to. Or,
It's complicated though, because
yeah,
how do you tell it's a HODL invoice when you get the onion message? You can't. All you know is like how long it's asking to be held before you fold the chain.
gotcha.
So if they're asking for 2 weeks, it's like, well, do you really want to commit to your capital being tied up for 2 weeks?
I mean, that's a huge issue because malicious actors could just mess around with that and lock stuff up, right?
Yeah, and this is where like we had a really interesting conversation in October about channel jamming, right? And like to some
Mm.
extent, what's the difference between a HODL invoice and a channel jam attempt?
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's a good question. So like whatever you use to solve like channel jamming will probably be the same like solution to this like how do you compensate for HODL invoices like jamming stuff up.
Holy moly.
Yeah. Anyways, so it's cool that like people are building stuff. I don't know. I could say it's cool, but I was like, I don't. Maybe my tone doesn't
Like, a
match
lot of this
it.
stuff is more like research. Like, what can we do, right?
Yeah.
Not, I don't know.
It's interesting though because it kind of like it's a lot like in like credit card systems. Are you familiar at all with how like credit cards like work?
Sort of, but in what context?
Like if you go to like the gas station, they like authorize a hold on like $100,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And then so they check your card and they're like, okay, can you pay $100? And they'll place a hold on that $100 in your credit account, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you like pump up like I don't know $30, $40 worth of gas, and
Mm-hmm.
then so when it settles, they'll only like place a $30 like settlement on your card, but they held $100, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's really similar, I think, to like the huddle invoice thing.
Okay.
You
Huh.
like place the reserve of like the first pass through is like, hey, like hold this amount, and then the person on the other side like claims it and that settles it. Only
Okay.
difference is credit cards settle like end of day, so like all the purchases you make are like pending. If you ever like look at
Right.
your credit card statement, the
Right.
pending ones at the top are ones that have been authorized but not like claimed, or like
Mm-hmm.
the second
And
card
those
has.
could fall off, or they could get
Yeah, they
confirmed,
could fall off. Most
essentially.
of the time they tend to like fall down. It's like, oh no, we
Yeah.
actually like transferred the money. But like it's not until they like fall into like your actual statement that your bank has transferred the money to the person to the merchant.
Mm-hmm. I see.
So settlement and like the settlement is like when does the money move and like what money is moving. This is like I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I recently learned this and now it's like all I want to talk about. It's fine.
Was this
Um,
the book that you brought up on Marty's show? You said you read a book about market stuff, but you read a lot of books, so I'm not sure if
oh
that was
yeah,
it
no,
or
that
not.
was a different book. That book
Okay.
is wild. That book I brought up on Marty's is like, I haven't finished it. I keep like misplacing it. It's at my house somewhere because I'll like start
Okay.
reading it and then put it in a stack and then move the stack somewhere and then can't find it.
I see.
Yeah, but like that book is incredible and weird and wild, and it's like it has to do with like cash and cash equivalents and how like the U.S. government should basically like change how they um, regulate cash equivalents. I don't know. That whole book is about like where crashes come from.
Where what comes from?
Crashes, financial crashes.
Oh, fun. Good
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, but I mean, the basic gist of the book, I haven't finished it, but as far as I can understand, it's basically a book that like lays out the case for the U.S. government to make a central bank digital currency.
Yeah.
Dude, like settlement with digital currencies is so much easier than physical cash.
It seems fine. I think I mean, I don't want to say fine. It seems terrible, but like, what the malicious part of that is they want to bypass the commercial banks, right? And they want to just surveil you straight up. You have a Federal Reserve account. Download the Federal Reserve app, and we're gonna watch everything you freaking do.
Well, I think the idea is that with a digital currency, you kind of remove. I'm gonna have to like go and look at this. Like the current banking system's kind of weird, in that banks, like,
Right.
if you're a federally backed bank, you can just like invent more money. Like you're allowed to just like expand the monetary supply by
So
making
I'm not an
loans.
expert, but it's my understanding whenever a bank makes a loan, that comes out of thin air.
Yeah, yeah, that's them making
That's
money. Yeah,
that. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, that they just like make up.
So
They
like
just
my
like
mortgage just got printed out of thin air, basically.
yeah, exactly, exactly. But it's like, I think the idea is that like banks are like kind of tasked with like only inventing money for things they think are actually gonna like be able to pay them back.
Right. Right. Well,
Um,
so me requesting a personal loan to buy another Bitcoin is probably.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. You're gonna have to talk to your banker. Inventing more USD for me to buy Bitcoin is like the
Yeah.
right thing for them to do as a bank. I don't know.
All right, I want to bring up something interesting since I sort of alluded to the Bitcoin price. You know what I noticed?
Mm.
All right, so I've got a chart. Hang on, I gotta find it. Okay, so this is showing the Lightning Network capacity um, increasing during this dip over the last few months.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I think that's really cool because that's telling me that people that are running channels aren't closing their channels to sell
Oh,
as
I see
part
what
of
you
the
mean.
dip,
Well, and I mean, if you think
which
about
is
it,
awesome.
yeah, it makes sense because people are like, I don't think you're not going to sell something you're using. You know what I mean?
Right, I guess so. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like, Lightning puts Bitcoin to use, and it's like you're not gonna sell something you're like actively like trying to use to like make payments with and shit, or like maybe you're earning routing fees or
Now,
whatever. Like,
it did slow down, but it's still like up, you know?
yeah.
But it's like, it's nowhere near the of the price itself. Which this is like the first time I've sort of seen. I mean, I don't know. I just thought that was cool. I was like, cool. Lightning people aren't closing channels to sell, like panic sell, basically.
I
Which is
see,
nice.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I like kind of think that Lightning Network is gonna be integral to like the continued like high value of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Because it's a use case. It's like a really big use case for Bitcoin is becoming a settlement layer. This is why I'm so
Hmm.
into settlement layers lately. I'm like,
Yeah.
Lightning makes Bitcoin the settlement layer of the internet, like the instant settlement layer of the internet. Um, yeah. And why would you sell your like settlement layer like
Right.
technology?
No, I
Like it.
totally agree. I think that, I don't know exactly what's happening. I really don't care, honestly. I just, whatever. But it's just, people that are using Bitcoin clearly don't care about the price, which makes me happy. So,
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, but here's the thing: if like you're using Lightning, you're using Bitcoin to make more Bitcoin, like on Lightning,
hmm,
assuming you're like, I mean, maybe I don't know why people put money to Lightning channels, but like if you feel like it's actually like being productive for you, like you're gonna be a lot less likely to like be price sensitive, I think.
mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think a lot of people that are using Lightning, especially um, running a decent routing node or something, your brain is in sats more than it is in dollars. And sats don't change.
Stats don't change.
Sats don't change.
That's not totally true though, right? New sets come out every 10 minutes.
Yes, they do.
Like, new stats are born every 10 minutes. Wow. That's fun.
Yeah, hash rate keeps going up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, it's getting wild. It's
like,
it's fun.
yeah, I think there's gonna be a bloodbath here in a little bit with the mining stuff. You didn't hear that from me.
Are you mean the hash rate bloodbath, or the hash rate accelerates and now
I think it's
people are
accelerate upward and like bloodbath in terms of like people aren't really making returns on their investment into mining equipment.
well, I guess you could only hope that the price goes up with the hash rate, because if it doesn't, then that's probably what would happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like I mean, there's been this thesis for a long time the hash rate's gonna go up when the hash rate and the price are like correlated, right?
I was a fly on the wall on a pretty big argument last year in Miami between people that were arguing about, does hash rate follow price or does price follow hash rate, and they both made good arguments from what I remember, but I was just like, yikes.
I don't think they're correlated.
I don't either. I think I've seen both, sort of.
Correlated.
I don't know.
I think it might be a mirage. I'm not convinced they're correlated.
So that's the third. So I guess we'll.
Yeah.
I don't
Like
know.
put up a poll or something. I don't know. Man, yeah. I just like. I guess it's just the number of people I've heard about like buying equipment and like all the equipment that's like supposed to be coming online and like the night like didn't Riot was the one who bought like 9 million.
Yeah, I sat through the mining council bullcrap with Sailor and those guys, and they put up that thing of like, we own 48% of the network or whatever. I'm like, oh, I don't know about this, guys. You know, it's Riot and Marathon and all this other crap. And
But
I'm
Riot
just like,
bought like millions of dollars of machines, right? Like
I think so, probably.
that's like the thing. I don't know.
But I don't know either. We're in a strange world here now.
So they wait, okay, so they have 48%, huh?
It was something like that, or 46.
And
It's
so
on
how
my
much
Twitter.
more percent did Riot just buy? Did they just buy enough to put them over the 51% thing?
I don't think that's how it went. I think it was like yeah, I don't know. They just showed a bunch of logos of all their organizations, and they were like, "Hey, we have." Their point was, we have this much in America. That was their point. Not that we own it, but it's still at the same time just like.
Didn't we used to like make fun of China for the same thing?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
But
it'd be great if we like, I don't know. I like Bitcoin more than I like America. Sorry, America. Like, you know, like maybe it's like better for Bitcoin if like not all the hash power is here.
yeah, I agree. I just I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I try not to think about it too hard because
Well, it's not like
there's
El
no
Salvador
idea.
giving someone a run for
Yeah,
the money.
jeez, what a troll. I loved his picture though, his McDonald's picture. That was great.
Wait, did he put up what did he tweet lately? I don't like follow him.
He
regularly.
tweeted a Photoshop of himself with a McDonald's hat and a McDonald's name tag.
Oh, this is Nayib Bukele, right? We're talking
Yes.
about the current president of El Salvador.
Yes.
He's like, I don't know how long. I don't know. It seems like things will be hopefully. I really like. I'm rooting for him. I like hope things work out for him and his like country. But if they have to go work at McDonald's, man, that's rough.
I those are from those memes from so long ago. Remember those memes in like 2017 where
Yeah, I'm poor now.
the Wojak memes where like
Okay,
he's got all the shitcoin tattoos and he's like working at McDonald's. Oh gosh. Anyway,
Yeah.
I was thinking about something earlier. What?
I just sent you a. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I just sent you a
Yeah.
post to something I thought was kind of interesting. Someone did a long what do you call it? Let me pull it up.
Can you put it in the chat,
Put it in the
the video
Telegram
chat,
chat. Do you want me to put it in the other in the? I can
meet
put it
chat? Yeah.
in the chat. I'll put
Because if
it
I go
there.
to the Telegram, everybody's gonna see it because my setup is
Oh, I
stupid.
see. I see. I see. Okay.
All right.
I thought this was interesting. I retweeted this. It's about voice concerns around PubNet's like privacy like practices.
Oh, I was just gonna
Um,
bring up privacy. That was my thing. Okay.
dope. Yeah. 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 Have you seen
Okay.
this
I
at all or like?
Okay, so all right, students in the grass. Yeah, we all know that. So this is all true. I was there at the beginning of this,
Mm,
and we were all aware of this, and we warned everybody of this.
mm,
It was originally supposed to be just like a goofy, fun thing between people just starting nodes and that were just YOLOing around. Uh, so yeah, I mean that cheese robot thing that's could absolutely be a spy for sure.
I mean, do you think PubNet has like? Do you think like? I mean, clearly PubNet's been like uber successful, right? And has gotten like thousands of people into Lightning, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Um, like, I mean, it seems like it kind of started as like an informal thing, and you guys were just like kind of knew that like some of your practices weren't maybe like the most like privacy
Yeah.
preserving.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember. It was like so long ago, but when there was like 10 people, it was just like, hey, we can like open up channels to each other and look at them, and that's cool and whatever.
Mm.
And at the time, I was like the only one there that already had a node and like whatever. So I was just trying to help out. So I didn't get too like involved in their whole like let's connect to everybody else. I like connected to like two of them, and I was just like,
Hmm.
because I don't want to connect to a bunch of newbies when my node was doing so good. No offense,
Why don't you
newbies.
want to collect a bunch of newbies, Nate? Should we like get into that? That sounds like some like
What? I
what's
don't
wrong
know.
with
I was kind
newbies,
of
Nate?
obsessed with like having channels with people that I thought would benefit me
Mm.
rather than the
Not
other way.
newbies, I see.
Yeah. So
What's the what?
unless you want to pay me, then I might
I
do it.
see. What is like as I say, why is a newbie like what about a newbie is like unhelpful for you?
Okay.
Like,
So
okay.
if I open up a channel to a newbie, I'm locking up capital,
Mm.
which could be used theoretically in better ways. Two, I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know if they're going to stick around. I don't know if they're going to like be good eventually. It's sort of like an investment in a weird way that absolutely
Mhm.
might not pay off. Probably won't pay off.
Mhm.
So that's why I think I eventually closed down all my channels. I think with everybody, honestly. But that was a while ago. But the main thing is the capital lockup. Like I don't mind sitting with channels that, from my side, are heavy on the remote. As long as they're online, like I don't care. But like channels that I have, like a 10 million sat channel with somebody for like 3 months, and like the fees are like super low, and it's just not moving, then
Mm.
I'm more likely to close that channel probably over
Mm.
time.
I see. So you do active like allocation of funds, like sounds like.
Yeah. I'm actually on the Voltage blog coming out with another routing node thing tomorrow for that kind of talks about it, but it's like if I guess the point of it was I'm sitting on channels with peers that should be really well connected, have high capacity, whatever, they look good, but for some reason they're not flowing very well.
Mm.
So what I tend to do is to make a best get. So now my thought is I want to open up a channel to a different peer that might have synergy with the channel that is heavy on the remote to try to get things moving again. And you can't guarantee that, right? But you can get a little bit of info by like going and looking at the channels that the peer that I'm referring to with the remote liquidity that I have with them, and I'm looking at their peers and I'm trying to find maybe one that I could open up a channel with and see if things start flowing again. The other thing to do is, especially if it's heavy, especially if the reason why it's heavy on remote is because I opened up a channel with a peer that already had like was really good and just it drained all out. All right, so I could circular rebalance and then increase the fee again and see what happens. So so that's what I look for first. If that isn't there, then I've got some capital. I'll open up a channel with a different peer that also has a channel with them and hope that it starts moving again. So that's kind of what I'm talking about in my little blog tomorrow.
Cool. Oh, cool. Thanks for the preview.
Yeah.
That's gonna be on the Voltage blog.
Yep.
Cool. Cool. I'll keep an eye out for it. That sounds good.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling in a lot of ways, because it's like, okay, my peer has a channel with them and they have a channel with them, and if I open a channel to them, maybe that will work, but you don't really know. So
yeah, one thing I'd be interested to know about like routing stuff is like if you make like circles or like triangles, those like tend to get used. Like, is there like any like benefits like structuring your channels in such a way that they
so
like?
I haven't participated in any of that because I don't like, there's got to be sort of off connections to the wider network, right? For because it can't just keep circular around and people making money, right? That doesn't make any sense. Everyone will break even, right?
Yeah.
So there's got to be some sort of connection to the wider network. Well, only one node is going to get paid for that connection to the wider network.
Oh, I see.
That's my thought. So I don't. So the only way I think that is good is that it's good for nodes that don't have a lot of capital but want access to the wider network cheaper. Right?
Oh, interesting. Okay, can you explain like how that works exactly? Like...
Yeah, so like if I just had a bunch of capital in one node, I could open up channels willy-nilly and get really high centrality quickly. But if I don't, but like a friend of mine or someone in this triangle or group or whatever has 30 channels out and I just have one channel to them, I sort of have access to their other channels. So if you have a cluster of these smaller nodes, it's sort of just a group acting as one routing node in a weird way to the rest of the network.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of cool. It's basically like making multi-party channels, except you have like individual channels between them, but like...
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think that's a cool idea. You know, because then you'd be like, okay, you have a list of all the nodes sort of in your group, and your goal to opening up channels is open up channels to peers that your other peers don't have channons with, sort of. Yeah. So you can increase the the range of the group.
Yeah.
It's like so communism. Like, no, I'm just
kidding. Right. I mean, basically, you guys are like acting in concert, like to make the world a better place. Yeah.
So that's if that is sort of the purpose of the Ring of Fires and stuff, then that's totally cool. I like that idea a lot, actually.
I don't think it's like that. Like, yeah, I think that's a great idea. I haven't heard anyone else like say that. But I've never actually seen very much like, it seems like if you were actually operating in this way, there's like certain tools you would want that are like whenever you're like looking at like, is it like LN router that like, is one of these like suggest like, do they suggest who to open nodes, like open channels to?
LN router just uses like, so I use LN router a little bit, but it helps you with centrality, meaning it'll tell you like, oh, you know, if you open up a channel, if this node opens up a channel with this node, they have access to this many other payment rate, ways. But they also tell you about like they somehow can try to guess what the individual channel balances are, which I don't understand, but it kind of like says like this channel could have a range balance of
Oh,
this, and it actually knows my personal node's total remote to local balance, which I didn't think was possible, and it's not exact, but the ratio is spot on.
okay.
So I was like, damn, okay. So like everyone out there with a 4 Bitcoin node but only like 20 million sats in local liquidity, watch out.
Why is that? Like when you say you only have 20 million in local liquidity, like what is
Well,
that?
so like if I say if I see if I want to open up a channel and I see someone has 30 channels with 10 million sats each to a bunch of other things, I'm like, cool, I'm gonna open 10 million. But how do I know that all of those channels like aren't all like one way or the other?
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
guess, which
Yeah,
would
I mean it's
suck.
like it's kind of nice information to know when you're opening up new channels, it sounds like
It is.
extremely valuable information.
It is. And my node is pretty heavy on the remote side, so I'm gonna try to fix that so I don't look like too big of a
I
jerk.
see. Now everyone else can see it, I guess, if those people using like Ellen Router.
Right.
That's interesting, yeah. The Ellen Router also recently added liquidity ads, and the cool thing about liquidity
Yes.
ads then is like, I guess you can look at someone's like channel balance before you like decide to buy a channel from them, so to speak, or buy some inbound liquidity from them.
Allen
I think
router.
it's really
Oh,
useful it
it's
would be.
not app. Okay. Yeah, yeah. In the tools, they have an ad marketplace,
Yeah,
which there's a few people there.
I'm in there. I think I'm in there. I shouldn't tell you who I
Is
am.
this a Sea Lightning thing?
Yeah, it's Sea Lightning.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just their sort of proprietary board or something. So this
No,
is
it's
actually a
like
Sea
it's built
Lightning
on
thing.
top of like the liquidity
Oh,
ads are like. I know the async team is working on implementing them. So like Sea Lightning supports it. It's an open standard. Async's gonna support it. I hope LDK is trying to talk the LDK team into adding it this year, putting it on their roadmap.
gotcha.
So yeah, it's an open protocol. They just built a GUI for it.
Oh, we just had our first chat. Cody is letting us know that Eclair does. And I do know Cody. Hello, Cody. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Cody. Um, Claire does. Oh man, mine's like the most expensive. Wow, wow, wow.
Uh-oh. No,
I
that's
just
good.
got myself. It's fine,
You gotta pull everyone else up to your level.
right? Someone's got to set the standard. I'm okay with setting the standard. Nuclear data.
Lightning Labs pool a couple versions ago, they allow a much longer time frame for the lease now, up to a year.
Oh wow, that's really
And
different.
yeah, and I had an order up, and it's funny because like it's the entire APR percent now, you know, because
Oh, because it's a year, so
yeah.
they need the entire
So
APR.
like I took the 2 week, when you stretch it out to a year, the APR on average was like 5% or something. So I'm like, all right, 5%, let's go. I
Here's the
don't.
thing. I guess the thing about like renting. I mean, liquidity in a channel. Like, how useful is that? Like, if you use it within 2 weeks, if you like, if it's you buy inbound capacity and you use it all in like a week,
Yeah,
was it really worth it for you to pay them for a year's worth of whatever?
I don't know.
That just like
but
guarantees the
but
channel
to that
existence for
point,
you.
nobody has ever bought a 1 year lease from Lightning Pool yet, and it's been out
Oh,
for a
I
few
see.
months.
Okay, okay. Yeah, like this is the whole thing with the lease stuff when we were talking about it, is that okay, I pay you like, let's say 10 sats for a million sats inbound, right? Um, I don't know. Okay, maybe like 100 sats for a million sats inbound, whatever like a normal like amount is, whatever. So I
Mhm.
pay you for like a million sats of inbound, and then like I don't know, let's say I'm like a vendor and I sell like, just gangbusters, like my little like
Sure.
widget that I'm selling, or like I got some stickers and like hot potatoes they're selling, like no problem. Um, what if I like use up all that capacity in like an hour and I've like paid you for 2 weeks of it? Like, does that mean you can't close the channel for 2 weeks?
I mean,
Like,
you're
I'm a
gonna have
vendor.
to. I mean, if you're running
I'm like,
LND, you're gonna have to do a loop out or something. I guess,
Yeah,
because
I
you
mean,
don't
that's
want to
what
close
we're
it.
working on. We're working on Splice and Sea Lightning right now. So at some point as a vendor, you would just like splice out the money, right? And maybe you would pay them to top up the channel if they have more inbound, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I'd want to like pay them to put more money in the channel at the same time I take like the money I've just earned out and put it somewhere else, right? Because it's just
Right.
gonna like stack up in the channel. Like unless I'm like paying for like the widgets out over Lightning, like I'm just that capital is just gonna accumulate,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. Stuff like that is like, yeah.
Because I should go out there and I should just buy 1 million sat channel for a year just for fun.
Yeah, see how it goes. Like a million stats. How much would you have to pay for that though? Is that 5,000 stats? Am I doing
I,
math right?
I mean, I don't. I mean, it's a blind auction. I don't know, but if you extrapolate the 2 week thing, it would be 50,000 sats.
That's a lot of stats, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's like $30.
yeah,
Well, that was 30 bucks
5%.
like a couple of days ago's prices. I don't know how much it is these days, but
Yeah,
yeah, interesting.
but then
Mm,
the challenge is for the one providing the liquidity to actually like stay online and stuff, because if you don't,
yeah,
you know, Lightning Labs isn't
yeah.
gonna like you very much.
I mean,
Does
this is where I get like kind of like I don't know. I get kind of when I like came out with liquidity ads. Like liquidity ads let you see who you're buying it from, right? So you can see their history and how long they've like been up and stuff.
so you can kind of pick. So like,
So you can pick. You know who
so
you're making a channel with. Whereas on
so
the pool, it's blind, right? You don't know who's gonna pop up on the other end.
I wanna ask real quick. So in that case, in theory, the nodes that have a really good history with liquidity ads could theoretically charge more
They can charge,
for
yeah.
the risk reduction.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, continue.
But the thing about like and the liquidity ad thing, you like the person offering the liquidity sets their own price. So like
Yeah,
they can tell you how much they're charging you for the liquidity, and you can decide whether or not it's worth that. You know.
right.
Um.
But if you're trying to get like a 3 million sat channel and you see two options, one is to a node that's been around for 2.5 years, one's to a node that's been around for 3 months, and that one, the one that's been around longer is charging more. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's kind of like if you ever go to like if you use like TaskRabbit or something like that.
What is it?
TaskRabbit
Oh
or like
no. Mm-mm.
it's like okay, TaskRabbit. I've used TaskRabbit a few times for like I need someone to help me move like this very heavy piece of furniture,
Oh, okay, I got you.
or I needed someone to like yeah, or like I need someone to go like pick up some furniture I found on Craigslist and like bring it to my house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a
Okay,
shop.
that's cool. I never
Um,
heard of it, but that sounds really useful.
Yeah, but like okay, but like so it's like profiles of people that have like done the jobs, and you can see how many jobs they've done. You can see like how much they're charging, and there's always like the new guy who's charging like $10, and everyone else who's done it like a zillion times who charges like 50, and you're like, okay, how badly do I like want this thing to like
Right.
work, right? Like, am I gonna pay for like the $50 person? And I can like
Mm-hmm.
kind of see. So I don't know. I think that like I think Lightning Network eventually will get to a point where something like Pool is like great and works pretty well. But I feel like we're kind of still like in the early stages where you kind of want to be able to like look at like how many jobs has this person done before? Like how long has this node been
Yeah.
on the
I mean,
network
that's how
before
I
you
would think about it, because then, it's just like any sort of career field or whatever. You start off as the newbie and then you kind of work your way up.
Yeah, and the longer you're around, the more you can charge because like you've been there for a while and like people know who you are, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Pool tries to do this with their tier stuff, like with tier one and tier two.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
think
I think it's hard.
I think if that model is to continue, there will have to be more tiers.
Yeah, but like,
Um,
how do you know what the tier means? Like, do they tell you what the tiers are?
I tend to ask some questions sometimes, but I still cannot answer that one.
Yeah,
So that's all I'll say about that. Oh,
yeah.
Cody says, isn't the benefit of Lightning allowing for incremental use, locking up capital for weeks seems counterproductive, especially with empty blocks?
I don't. What does he mean by locking it up? Oh, you
I
mean
think
like
like selling your liquidity,
selling your liquidity? I mean,
paying
what else
$10
do you do?
but $40
Are
in
you-
annoyance versus $50 to the job done right. Oh yeah, that's what you were saying. So I
yeah.
think he's saying, so like the thing that's why you have to price it like in a way that makes you happy. You
Yeah.
know, you're
That's
locking
kind
it
of
up for a price.
Yeah, and so like I mean that's kind of why I'm like sort of bullish on liquidity ads. Is like you say, okay, like what is it worth to me to lock this up, and you put it out there, and it's not an auction mechanic. It's not how much are people willing to pay for it. It's like, okay, what's it worth to me, and what am I gonna be happy like locking it up for? Um, I mean, if no one buys it, then like that's fine. They didn't meet your bar for how much you were willing to like do it for, right?
Mm-hmm. I would love to see a UI for ads or something. That would
Yeah,
be
but
really
that's
cool.
I mean, there is one. It's the Ellen Router's got it.
I mean, we definitely see the board, so that's true. So, okay, so if I'm running Sea Lightning and I want to buy some liquidity,
Yeah,
I can go to this, I can see who's selling it,
yeah.
and then I just go to.
You just do a on your channel. You do a fun channel. You like do a fun channel, and you add a few extra parameters that are like, I want
Okay,
to buy this much from you, and
okay.
here's the ad I'm responding to. You like let them know this is what you
All right, that
expect. The
does
rate.
sound pretty easy.
Yeah. So if the rates have changed, when you send them over, here's the rates I'm expecting. If the rates have changed and they send back a like, oh, okay, except like they bumped up the rates, then you'll automatically fail it and just be like, no, that's not what I
All
wanted.
right.
I was
I want to
expecting.
start a Sea Lightning node now.
Oh yeah, that's what I like to
And
hear.
then establish, my dominance and then sell some liquidity.
Yeah, and like, do you know how much you would charge? How much did you charge for liquidity?
I have no idea. I have no
Dude,
idea.
okay, so this actually happened like I want to say before Christmas break, and it was like kind of sad, but also was like kind of funny. Like someone was going through the list of like liquidity ads and wasn't before Ellen Router made a beautiful UI for them. It was like a great looking marketplace.
Mm,
Before Ellen Router had it, either the way that you browse them was like kind of in the terminal command line. Like you
right.
could just like grep. Basically, you would grep through like the node announcement stuff. Like you could see them, but it was all just kind of in the terminal, like text fields.
Mm,
Someone was just like going through randomly, like leasing out stuff from people just to try it because it's a great way to get inbound liquidity, right? So they were like going down the list trying to like stuff, and they didn't notice that one of the people was charging was it point one? I think it was point one Bitcoin as a fee, as a base fee. So someone had just put like a ridiculously high fee for the liquidity, and the person who was like didn't look at it, didn't see it, and just like picked it up and like popped it in, and then was like desperately messaging like, "Why are all my sats on the other side?" And like you look at it, and you're like, "Well,
yeah.
guys, that's how much they said they were charging you, and you said yes, so you paid them that much." Like,
You
I
know,
don't know how to.
yeah, yeah, you got to watch out. That's the moral of the story. Know what you're doing.
Yeah, really. I think like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like part of me likes telling that story because I'm like, well, maybe more people will be incentivized to put up ads for liquidity because someone will come along and just pay them what they're asking. You know?
The um oh, my little chat widget isn't really that good. Wind voltage, sea lightning. Someday, probably. Cody asked wind voltage, sea lightning.
Yeah. Well,
We actually, it's one of those things where it's like the more we get asked that question, the more likely it is to happen. But we are hiring, and I'm sure we're gonna put that on at some point.
dope. That's great. At
Yeah,
some point soon, right? You
I
know, we're
mean,
adding a whole.
we have the icon
Yeah,
there that says like coming soon or whatever.
yeah, yeah. It's been
So
there for a while though, Nate. What does soon mean
okay, I'm
exactly?
glad you're watching out for it. Yeah, I don't know. It's been there since I was hired, which was only a few months ago.
Yeah, yeah.
But the thing is too is you're not really locking up liquidity on this if it drains. The liquidity is just moving to your other channels.
Yeah, that's right.
So
But
if
it's
it,
been used then, right? Like you paid for the inbound and you used the inbound.
right. So like when I sell liquidity, the initial state is it's all outbound on my side.
Yeah.
As they use it, it becomes all remote on their side, and my other channels sort of pick up the slack on that. And then now I can
Hopefully they've got traffic going the other direction, right? And then
exact
it comes
yeah,
back to you. I mean, because
right.
you really want like channel, you want like reuse,
We
right?
want both ways, yeah.
Yeah. But I
Absolutely.
mean, the whole idea is that if they're paying for you, like they probably have a use case for it. So you'll probably get like both the lease fees and then when as they use that liquidity, you also get paid, right? So you get paid both for creating that channel and then you get paid for them using it.
True. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good point. Good point. Good point. So yeah,
Yeah.
you would want to either yourself, like if you're happy with that, then you would want to either try to do a rebalance, or they would want to try to.
Yeah.
Someone would.
Yeah. I mean, if it like clearly,
Yeah.
if a node has a need for inbound liquidity, it's probably a decent node to like have a channel with, like, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you get paid every time they route through you. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think being paid to lease liquidity, using liquidity ads is a pretty good deal for the person who's getting it because here, the node that's opening the channel pays the open fees for you. They pay
Mm-hmm.
for you to deploy your liquidity to the channel. So they're paying you for your UTXOs to end up in that channel. You
Mm-hmm.
get paid an extra amount to like as like a convenience fee for like allocating your capital to their use or their channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you make fees every time that capital gets used, and then when it ends up closing or going to chain, they're going to pay the on-chain fees because they're the ones who open the channel.
How does the liquidity provider get? What's the mechanism for the liquidity provider to get paid to open the channel? And
You
that's
like so the fee that you charge just gets allocated from their side to your side at open, so your balance actually just goes up a bit at
okay.
start, which is kind of like a nice convenience if you're buying the
That is
liquidity
cool.
because then you have that fee actually basically ends up as like more inbound
Mm-hmm.
capacity,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of cool. I think it works for everyone, right?
That's
Like,
awesome. Actually, that's probably the best way to do it, I think.
yeah, yeah, but it's committed in channel kind of capacity stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the question would be, how would you get paid more if the channel drained? Would you get paid more from, like, as the drain, would you get paid more from the circular rebalance and then the fee drain again? Or would you get paid more from closing a heavy
Mm.
channel and then redoing an ad?
I-
I don't know, just thoughts like that, everyone's got to figure it out for themselves.
Yeah, I mean it depends. I mean, I think there's like a lock. I don't remember exactly how the lock works, but the lease basically like I think you kind of commit to the channel being open for that long, and if your channel has been drained, like let's say you put 1,000,000 sats in and it got routed, all 1,000,000 sats got pushed to their side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, I want to close this and like I don't think those funds are coming back. Like I'm gonna like close this channel. I mean, like at that point, it's like, but the way that the lease works is like you
You
can
have to
close
leave it
it.
up.
Any residual funds in that thing you won't be able to claim until the lease term expires. But if you don't like
Okay.
have any money in it, it's not a big deal, right? Like
Okay.
they've used all the inbound liquidity. It just means that there's just kind of this UTXO hanging out with like a little bit of residual balance in it that you can't claim.
So that is supposed to prevent premature
You
closing.
Yeah, exactly. So if you like lease them the stuff and then immediately close the channel, like there's no benefit to you because then your 1,000,000 sats is like still locked up. It's got a time lock on it
Mm,
for another like 4,000 blocks, so you won't be able to get it back basically.
for a while. Hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty awesome. I'm happy oh yeah. I think it's kind of, I don't know. I'm looking at the ads page on Ellen Router,
Hmm.
and it says, what are liquidity ads, but like little FAQ at the bottom. But at the
Yeah.
top it says liquidity offers, and that hurts my brain because of the
Oh.
Bolt 12 stuff, which that has nothing
Yeah,
to do with
that's
it.
like a weird.
Just like,
It's
but
hard to talk about this stuff. It's true.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's so many like little things.
Oh, liquidity offers. You should really just say liquidity ads, right?
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
okay. It's still funny
Offers
to me.
for liquidity. Yeah, no.
I mean, it makes
Yeah.
sense, but
Talking about money, man, you kind of use the same words for like 10 things. I don't know.
speaking of
Yeah.
offers, is there any news on that front?
Offer stuff. I know that. I mean, other than the fact that like I think async is also working on the Eclair people are working on integrating it. I think Ride the Lightning recently added it, so you can like print
Oh,
out offer QR codes from Ride the Lightning's like UI, which is cool.
I'll have to
My
talk to
understanding.
my man over there at some point.
Yeah. Talk to them about it. So that's cool. I don't know. Yeah.
That's
Otherwise,
cool.
I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of out of the loop on some of that stuff. But
No, yeah. Well,
others are so great. Like, man, so Anthony Browning and I had a chat. Maybe we
ooh,
talked about this last week, but like Anthony and I had this long chat about like liquidity or privacy stuff. And
oh,
one of the things that kind of came out of that is like, oh, you really shouldn't be handing your descriptions. Like, if you have an invoice and it's got a description in it, and you like hand it to like Cash App to pay you, they're gonna take that invoice with the description and send it to Chainalysis.
yeah.
Um, maybe we shouldn't be like,
Descriptions are horrifying
should
in a
maybe
lot
we
of
should be
ways.
sending plain text descriptions to like, like I mean, it's like it's really only a problem when you
Like,
hand your invoice to someone else to pay it on your behalf. Um,
like check this out, right? Like, what? Imagine a lightning-based business.
mm,
All right, I don't know if this is actually going to go where I'm thinking, but I'm gonna follow through anyway. And it's like someone could troll them or set a trap for them, FBI style or something, and be like, for a pound of pot in the
yeah,
description, and be like, hey, pay this 100 cent invoice.
yeah.
You piece of
Descriptions
crap.
are not shit you want to be leaking, is my thing. Like that should be
But
private
like
between you.
nobody's checking usually. Like that's the
Yeah.
thing. It's really
Well,
easy to just ignore it. Like it pops up on most things, but like it's easy to just be like, and pay invoice. And it's like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like that's like, but I think that's like kind of the private data. Like this is the data that like, did you hear the like thing about like this year? There's like this new rule on like Venmo and like PayPal, etc. Like are all gonna have like, and then any bank has to report over $600 of like
yeah,
activity, right? And like
yeah.
it's at some point like, are they gonna start using the descriptions you type in your payments to figure out what needs to like be reported? Um, so like when I've been paying people for stuff lately, I've been writing like for groceries, like
Yeah.
and like anyways, like this like that sucks though. Like that's just like I don't know, it's like okay, we actually do live in the surveillance state. Like maybe for Lightning we should like make those descriptions like private or whatever. But I say all this because like I was talking about it with Rusty and Rusty's like, oh yeah, like Bolt 12, so like offers the way that they do invoices uses like these like cool Merkle root things. So you only have to reveal like the so if you needed like a third party to pay the invoice on your behalf, like the Cash App, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
like handing it to the Cash App's like servers to like manage Lightning. They like will make the payment for you, right? Um, he's like you could only reveal the fields they needed, which are like the route that it's going to and the amount.
That's
And you would
good.
have to tell them what this stuff is, and you can send it all to them, and they'd still be able to verify that it's like a good, valid invoice. But you just wouldn't have to reveal all the data. You can still like, I don't know. So I think like Bolt 12, like it's like what do we say? Bitcoin fixes this. Bolt 12 fixes this for Lightning.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Uh,
Anyways, I gotta roll out here soon. Do you have
yeah.
any like
No,
final comments or
it's
thoughts? Cody, what do you think?
it's been a fun hour. Said what comes first? Voltage, Sea Lightning, Strike in Europe, or ETH 2?
Oh man. Oh, that's rough. What do you
Ouch.
think, Nate?
I really think we should get Sea Lightning. I think that it's tough in that, like, for anyone using Sea Lightning, they really need command line access. That's pretty much necessary for Sea
Not
Lightning,
after
right?
our next release, we're gonna have all gRPC stuff.
Okay, all right. Well, that would help. That would help a lot.
Yeah.
Because
We
at
have
Voltage, we
okay.
don't give SSH, but
Yeah.
like if you have it installed locally, you can, with LND, you can have the whole macaroon thing, so you can sort of tap
Yeah.
into
We're
it.
adding like the
Uh,
macaroon level like
Okay.
gRPC stuff like this next release.
Well, then I am super pumped. And yeah, you are. Yeah, this is gonna be a big release.
It's gonna be a big release.
All right, I'm
I'm
looking
excited.
forward to one of these Sunday chats to going over the release notes. You can tell
Oh
us
my
all
god,
about
it's
it.
gonna be great. Yeah.
Okay.
We gotta like find someone who like knows the L&D stuff too, because I wanna like I feel like we're like not.
Okay. I think that would be fun. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, because I mean, I could talk all day about what we're doing over in Sea Lightning. I have no idea what LND
Yeah.
like focus up to. So
And I'm just the humble. guy that's trying to understand things. So yeah, you're right. I think someone that understands it deeper would be a lot of fun. I will think on that this week. But cool, guys. Thanks for hanging out, Cody and Mr. Truth and whoever else is out there. But we will be back next week, and have a good one. Enjoy your travels.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll be back in Houston soon, I think.
Awesome. Oh, yeah. So you're not going to be in Tuesday?
No, but I think the rest of the gang is going to show up and hang out. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Secret meeting, guys. Don't ask questions.
This week we're going to try, I think we'll be on the list for this week. We've been like doing this thing. I'm working on writing it up because it's super fun. We've been like, every week we've been doing like a little bit on like a kind of project now. And this week, I think we're going to try writing our first Taproot script. So I actually need to like go figure out how to do that so we can do it together as a team, because I'm like technical lead on the project, so to speak.
I want to go.
Yeah, it should be super fun. Come hang out. We'll have a good time.
All right.
Bye.
Later, guys.
Bye.